everybody, it's Safi and Marco, Dish Out on the Movies. Today we are doing the finale of Delicate, the Artur, episode 9 of American Horror Story. And this is it, and I'm glad, and I did read the book. What I did was I got an audio version and I got the reading kind where you flip the pages. And because the first part was just like the show, it was boring and I didn't care for it. But that's the first part. It got a little bit better. If I had the reading version, I could kind of skim it. And then up to a certain point, then I just put it on the audio book and listen to the rest. And it is the ending and the, what would you call it? The whole scheme is not anywhere near what was in the show. The show was evil, and in the book, it's just the opposite. There are still supernatural things like witches in the book, but they're not evil witches who think all men are trash and they should be eliminated from the universe or something. I don't know. So, I just wanted to tell you that I did go through it, and I would recommend the book to people, women who are childbearing age, and maybe they want to read about IVF. And I didn't know anything about IVF. I've had 2 kids a million years ago, and it's still not something I don't think I would have been interested years ago either to read it. But I know some people have talked about it on YouTube that they like the book, so more power to them, because the first part is boring. I'm sorry, but it is. But the rest isn't. It moves right along. Just like in the show, it moved right along, although there's gaping holes in the plot in the show and a few other problems. So anyway, go ahead, Marco. You want to take it up?
Well, Safi, now that you've finished the book, what do you think of that one review that called it a feminist Rosemary's Baby? Is that like a complete lie?
I don't know what they're talking about. I don't understand. Rosemary's Baby was Rosemary's Baby. And that's another thing. The baby in the show, I thought that was supposed to be like a witch. It's not not supposed to be Satan's son, right? I mean, I didn't get that. And in Rosemary's Baby, I think that's what it was. Satan came down and had sex with her when she was in this, she had eaten this food, and I think it put her in some kind of knockout or drug-induced stage, and she didn't know what was going on. She was like half awake, not even wholly there. And the baby that was born was, I think, supposed to be the son of Satan, but this was not. The baby that's born here is not the son of Satan. It's Kim's baby, apparently.
Yeah, well, I'll just say this episode, it was very, very bad. It was exactly as bad as I thought it would be, if not even worse, because the episode starts off. Safi, stop looking at the screen.
I'm not even.
Yeah, you are.
Okay, I'll look at my paper.
It starts off with this horrible scene where they're at an IV whatever support group, and there's this lonely older woman who's really depressed, and she's crying and telling the group of how sad she is, and then Kim and Emma make fun of her. And, right off the bat, the main character of the show is making fun of some sad, lonely woman who's in this group. And you're thinking to yourself, how are they trying to put this off as a feminist show when you have such a horrible unlikable main character like this, where she's like going to support groups and making fun of people like her. It's really, really weird.
And I think
Right,
this
Safi?
is when they first meet, too.
Yeah, so they bonded over making fun of this poor woman.
Yeah. This was supposed to be Brooklyn 2019.
And then Emma jokes and says she's about to go audition for a feminist horror film, but it was written by a man. Ew. And then Kim Kardashian says, when are they going to let us tell our own stories? And see, this was just more, because were those lines in the book?
Nope.
Okay, because this is like more 2024 Hollywood segregation propaganda of like only men can write men's stories and only women can write women's stories. And it's bizarre because the women who made this show, why won't they let us tell our own stories? Well, you took this woman's story in this book and you completely bastardized it, and you completely did not tell the story that was in the book. So, like, maybe you shouldn't be allowed to tell stories because you don't even tell the story that the woman wanted to tell. Like, because what favors did they do her, the woman who wrote the book, by shitting all over her story, making it some anti-men filth, typical, like, Hollywood propaganda filth show, where it's just all about hating men and uplifting women for the millionth fucking time, as if that's never been done in Hollywood before. So what do you think of that, Safi? Because, like, women got to tell their story this season, and it was a huge piece of shit. So, what do you think of that?
Well, it wasn't any woman's story. It was witches who were evil.
But it was. A woman wrote the book. They took a woman's story, and they told that woman's story. And what did they do to it?
Well, they kind of like bastardized it. But the thing is, I just want to say that the husband has an affair in the book, too. Now, all of that is just like in the book. The girlfriend worked at the office, and but he had also had an affair behind his wife's back, too. And every time he found out, like, his wife didn't want to have kids. And he found out after they were married. So he started having an affair. And then this IVF thing that they did, Emma and Dex did, they had tried it for a long time. And it hadn't worked. And this is like one of the last times they were going to do it. And so he was frustrated. So he started having an affair. It's like a thing where if the wife he's with, if she can't have a baby or won't have a baby, he has an affair. But he, like in this, both times Dex gets injured in the book and in the show. And in the book, though, even though she knows he had an affair and everything, I just wanted to say she was very upset that what happened to him. And that she was really worried about him.
On the show, it's the opposite, where, first off, after she wins the Oscar, she pretends like she didn't actually want to give up her baby, which we found really hilarious because last week there were a bunch of crazy feminazis who got exposed because they were commenting on other videos. And they were saying, I'd gladly give up my baby for an Oscar. And it's like, you really just exposed yourself because you were saying that because you thought that, Emma Roberts did it, so I would do it too.
Yeah, and
she actually didn't want to, though.
Right, and they also said, too, that because the guy cheated on her, they wouldn't want to keep the baby. And I said, well, yeah, I thought
That's
about
horrifying.
that a little bit, but I said, to me, I don't think they have ever done anything like this before. I don't even know if they'd had a baby. And just the people who do this procedure, in real life, they are desperate and they really want to have a baby of their own.
Yeah.
And they go through a lot, and they also pay a lot. And I just, no matter what, I didn't agree with them. And I told them that. But so then you see, in this episode, when she said, she's out in the audience, and Kim says, would you give up anything to get this Oscar? And all of a sudden she wins. Now in the book she doesn't win it. Okay? So that has nothing to do with anything. That Oscar stuff, all that is for the TV show. But in the book, she says, no, I just made a mistake. I want to hold the baby. And then they say, well, if you hold the baby, you're going to have to, what is it? You're hooked into what we are then. You have to be a witch then or something, So, in the show, the TV show.
Yeah.
But in the book, it's completely different. I'm not going to go on about it.
Well, you are.
It's just completely different.
Well, in the TV show,
it's not evil.
Well, let's get back to the shitty TV show. Dex is in the ambulance with her, and does he get any sort of like character development in this episode? Does he get any sort of even just he doesn't even have like any lines.
No,
like
he just goes, ow!
He's just like, no!
Yeah.
And then one of the bitch witches kills him, and then she's like, finally, couldn't wait to shut him up. And it's like, well, was he even talking at all? Like, he wasn't. So
well, what happened?
It didn't make any sense at all.
Deliver the baby. The baby was starting to come out.
Yeah. So, how dare he do that?
And the baby,
that evil man.
The baby, I don't know, had claws or something, and it hurt his hand real bad. I don't know if the baby bit him. I'm not really sure what happened, but he was injured on his hand. And after that happened, then the witch, first she killed the paramedic, because this is a real live ambulance going to a hospital. And then she killed him. So.
Well,
she was still upset. Even in the show, though, she was upset.
She was a little upset. But she wasn't that upset.
No, she wasn't that upset, but she still was, like, horrified.
She kind of shrugged it off. A lot of the times in these modern TV shows and movies, the characters just shrug things off. Like it's just like an American Horror Story cult, where all those normal people, all of a sudden, they were really happy that Evan Peters was killing people for them. It made no sense at all. It was just felt like totally fantasy land. And it's just like this, where I couldn't take any of this seriously. It was so bad. It was such a miserable episode. It was short, too. It was like 30 minutes long, because apparently the women don't have anything to say. Except
and they could
for
have really added more to the ending.
Yeah, I mean, nothing happens. Like, Dr. Hill, we see a flashback of him interacting with Kim, and we never see him again, so I guess he just gets to do whatever he's going to do. The father-in-law, he's made into be like a satanic Hugh Hefner, and we never see what happens to him. It's just stupid. This whole finale was just shit. It was definitely, I guess it could be the worst episode of the season, or one of the worst, because like they had a chance to wrap everything up, and it did not work at all.
No, because what happens is
nonsense.
Inexplicable.
Yeah, it's
I don't get it.
Nonsensical finale.
I mean, it's another thing where something happens and you have to make up the story to explain it.
Yeah, you have to.
The person who watches it has to make up the story to explain it. I am so sick of that. We are not, none of us are paid to write the stories for them.
Yeah.
And and like I said, This wasn't anything like the book, so you can't blame the author, because she had the beginning, which I didn't care for, I said already, a middle, an end, and then she had kind of a little epilogue part at the very end. And so she had a complete book.
And they literally didn't care about her book.
No.
Because they really fucked it up. They made it about hating men. Hating on men. That's what the story becomes. And so, Kim Kardashian, one of the funniest things about the episode was that, I guess this is after Dex has been killed, she has Dex's testicles on display. Did you see that, Safi?
Yeah.
That was really, really weird. And it just felt like another thing of, like, anti-men crap. Of, like, this is exactly what I'd expect to see in something like that. Because it's like, how can we degrade men specifically and like, do this kind of thing? Well, let's have the main male character's testicles on display. Really, really weird. Right, Safi?
Yeah. I just really kind of basically ignored it.
Oh, we know you like to ignore things when they're convenient.
But it's funny because at the end, basically, you just saw pictures, but really not much of an explanation.
Yeah, well, the witches, they tell the main girl how they have this big plan to create super babies so that they can take over the world and kill all men and put together a matriarchy, and the only men that they'll keep around will just be their sex slaves.
Yeah.
Because men are so evil, and men have always been the problem in the world. They have always done everything evil, and women have never done anything wrong. And men are just, they're the reason why all the evil in the world exists, so we need to put together a matriarchy. That's the solution. And so, yeah, if you think that that's ridiculous, it is really ridiculous. Right, Safi?
Yeah.
That plan. Super babies.
And in the book, it's not like that. Like I said, there is a supernatural aspect to it. I don't want to explain, but let's see.
Don't do that, Safi.
I'll just say her baby, and just in particular, her baby ends up to have the soul of her best friend. What's her name? Shaboyan?
Slobby Knobby.
Whatever. It's the Kimmy character. But see, the Kimmy character is not the same in the book. Her best friend has the same name, but she is an older actress who has cancer, and she's dying. And so it ends up, what she does for her is she puts a spell on her with the help of all the witches in the coven, whatever, and she did have a miscarriage. She did have it in the show, and she had it in the book, but they bring back the baby in the book. They bring back the baby, and it will contain her friend dies right after she gives birth, and her soul goes into Emma's baby, and they show at the end she grows up, and her mother goes to these support groups, and she's kind of part of the witch group too, but they want to help people. They don't want to. There's no evil BS and hating men and all this BS. There's nothing like that.
So let's get back to the show now, since you started to do
I just wanted to make sure with the baby, it wasn't some creature. I think that was somebody brought that up too, that they thought the reason why she wanted to keep the Oscar and forget about the baby because it was going to be a creature. Well, what did we see in the show? She wanted to hold the baby anyway. She even let the baby nurse from her and had teeth and claws.
Yeah, let's get back to the show.
Well, that was in the show.
Yeah, but we have to get back to the
Well,
show.
somebody said, "Oh no, that's why she didn't want the baby." Well, that's just not true.
Yeah.
She still wanted it, and she wanted to hold the baby, and she was going to nurse the baby. So that's just not true. You're wrong.
I don't know. I'm at a loss for words because the show is so bad. But, it's almost framed, too, that, like, the female villains, that they have a really good motivation. Like, and this is what always happens, too, is that you have a female villain in a modern TV show or movie, and it always turns out that, they were actually kind of good, and they had good intentions, because they just wanted to end toxic masculinity, even though there's no such thing as toxic masculinity at all. And so, like, that's all they wanted to do. It's just the typical thing. And that's basically, like, this whole episode is just the witches goofing off in front of Emma and explaining to her what they want to do.
Oh, and they also make her unable to walk.
Yeah, out of nowhere.
Which I didn't get that at all. They show, how during the whole show, they had these dolls that were her from some kind of movie or something she was in. And so they did something with the legs on the dolls. So, they were like voodoo dolls.
Yeah.
Or that's how they used them.
That was also really weird.
And that's just stupid.
So, that was really stupid, and, just this whole episode felt, like, lazy to me. It felt like they were just obligated to do this, but they really didn't care about what they were doing.
Oh, I know. They said to her that they were going to mess up her legs because she reneged on what she told Kim. She had told Kim, I give up anything to have that Oscar. And so because when she got there, when she kind of said, no, I didn't really mean it, they got mad at her and screwed around with the legs on the doll, making her unable to walk and be confined to a wheelchair. And that's why they did that.
Another thing that doesn't make sense?
And that's dumb.
Another thing that doesn't make sense is that Dr. Hill is working with these witches, right?
Yeah, because for years Kim has referred.
Then why did he tell Emma not to go on airplanes, and they made it this big plot point where Kimmy K advised her to go on an airplane anyway, because who cares what the men doctors have to say? Why would he even tell her not to go if it really didn't matter at all?
Well, I already know about this.
Makes no sense, though.
Other people who in Tanzania, Swiss couple, she was very pregnant. They would not allow, the airlines won't let you on the plane.
Yeah,
but they would not allow her to be on the plane.
But we're saying, why did Dr. Hill tell her not to if Kim was going to tell her to go on an airplane anyway?
I don't know.
And it wasn't going to matter at all.
I don't know. But it wouldn't matter what either one said. It's up to the airline to allow her to do that, not them.
Well, yeah.
And so that's just wrong. Unless they've changed the policy.
No, they haven't. I looked it up.
Okay, well, but see, the reason why do you think that they do that? Because the woman could go into labor.
No, it's also because pregnant women, when they fly, they have a higher risk of developing a blood clot.
Oh, so it's
there's
still
medical reasoning.
Okay.
And on the show, it's completely written off like it's just some sort of a invention that evil men created to hold down women or something stupid like that.
Now, see, so, I mean, it's just that alone really kind of pisses me off.
Yeah.
Because that's just not right.
Well, it's typical.
That's what I said, and that's what I thought. Because of experiences with real life people who were denied the right to take the airplane.
Are you a real life person, Safi?
I hate this kind of BS. This drives me nuts.
Well, what drove me nuts was the ending, because all of a sudden, Emma is nursing the baby, and then all of a sudden, the ghost of the first wife magically shows up in the nick of time.
And she's wearing all white like she was in the show.
And she helps Emma defeat the witch by saying a spell out loud, and that solves everything.
Emma repeats it. I think she's feeding it to her, and she's saying it with her.
I said that, Safi.
They're both saying it together.
I said that.
Well, it's hard to say if she was real or a ghost, or... I just don't know.
Really?
Well, I mean, did somebody bring her back to life?
I don't know. I was really confused as to why she was even there.
Yeah, I know. Why was she there? There's nothing to explain it.
No.
Nothing. Not even after it happens. Nothing is said about it.
No, it's just like, oh, there she is. She came to rescue her, and it worked.
And,
yay!
And the thing is, let's just think about this too. The woman was captured, laid out on a table. Now, she had been saying a spell, and I was thinking it was a protection spell. And she got up because Dex came in there, and then they all came, and so she was interrupted while she was doing that, so maybe that's why it didn't work. But nothing she did could help herself. So here is, they put her on fire, and somehow she's back from the dead, and so she couldn't help herself, but she could help her.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Made no sense at all.
That doesn't make sense. And what is irritating, they don't say anything about it.
No.
Why not?
And I feel like you could have easily executed a much better version of this episode where, there could have been like a really creepy episode here where like the witches take her to like their mansion or something, and she's trapped inside this scary mansion and she's got to escape, and maybe the ghost comes and she helps her escape, and she helps her navigate her way through the mansion and defeat all the witches. Like, they could have made like a good finale, but yet again we have to come up with stuff instead of them. They just, all that they can come up with is let's put Kim Kardashian in a show and have her tell Emma Roberts how to go to the bathroom, and let's talk about how we hate men, because we all hate men in real life too, even though that's where we came from. Men created us.
And Kim Kardashian, I don't think Emma's had any kids, but Kim Kardashian has, and she ought to know better.
No, I think Emma's had a child.
I don't know, but I know Kim has. So anyway, so the baby, when she saves her, what we mean by that is Kim is destroyed. She melts like in the Wizard of Oz.
And then the baby turns to normal.
No claws, no teeth, just a baby,
which is
girl.
Stupid. And then I hate it. I hate it so much. It's such a piece of crap. And just the worst thing is, like, I'm glad that I'm not just an American Horror Story fan, because I would have been so disappointed that after last season was so bad. I mean, it was so lackluster. It didn't feel like American Horror Story was on its prime anymore. And you go from that to this, where this is just like the lowest of the low that you can get. It's such a horrible feeling as a fan to be let down like that when, they have all the resources at their disposal, but I guess they're too busy focusing on putting sex police on set, rather than telling a good story, Right, Safi?
I suppose.
And fulfilling their agendas.
Yeah. I just think, the woman who did the book, she was probably I think, I'm not for sure, but she might be like a new author. So she might have just been really happy that somebody took her book and did something with it. And
Oh, I wouldn't be, because they'll never make this into a movie.
And it's a shame, because with what's going on with IVF right now, it would be nice to have a really good movie. Not one of those, what is it, where they tell a true story and it's boring. But, I mean, something interesting like the book that turns out to be interesting, cut out all that boring stuff. Well, not all of it, but some of it. And, that would be really helpful. But now,
They won't.
But so I don't know what she would think about it, or what she thinks about it. Just as a first author, it looks like that might be the case. I'm not positive. That might be really, she might be really at least happy about that. But I would be a little bit dismayed because her book was a lot better, because it was, at least she told the whole story. This thing, it just dropped off. And that woman, the dead wife shows up like that. From what? How? Was it in her mind? And when Kim comes back, what happens is Kim leaves the room. And she's got her little witch's outfit on. She comes back. And so she can tell right then and there when she walks in the room something's wrong. So what does that mean? She sees her. So she's not a ghost or invisible to anybody but Emma. She's visible to anybody. And so Kim sees her, and she knows what she's doing. Because it's really too late, because they're really doing this spell at a clip. And she deteriorates, pretty rapidly. Not instantly, but it was, it was just went on really quickly. And at a measured pace. And so it's just ridiculous. I'm trying to remember what happened. Was there anything else that happened after that?
No.
So, that's where they left off. Come on.
Well, they just didn't care.
They could have had, because at the end of the book, like I said,
No, you didn't, because you weren't done explaining every detail of the book.
Well, I didn't say every detail.
Yeah, you did.
They have Emma at the end. She's older, and she's at an IVF support group meeting, and she's helping some other woman.
And so she's helping another woman instead of laughing at her and making fun of her with Kim Kardashian. Yeah.
Well, it's not Emma, but I'm just saying the Emma character. And she, her daughter's grown up, and she's a famous actress and famous director, and that's like at least they put an end point to it. In this show, there's nothing. We don't even know how that woman shows up. How does that happen?
I think you're more interested in it than the people who wrote the show.
Well, I'm just sick of this. This happens all the time. We complain about it all the time, where the person watching the show is left to write the rest of it.
And it all goes in one ear and out the other for them, because if you say anything bad about a show or a movie, you're a toxic fan. Like when we criticized Goosebumps, and it was like, oh, we're not allowed to say anything against the show.
And like we have always said, why do we do that? We do that because we want it to be better, so it's more enjoyable to watch.
Yeah.
And that's just, come on. Why are you putting this stuff on TV if you don't want people to like it? And you really believe some of these people say, oh, it's the best thing I've ever seen, sorry. And do you people really believe that? No. That's so disingenuous. And we do know that at times people have gotten paid to say good reviews.
Yeah.
And that's not right. That's a fact.
Like with Better Call Saul.
It's on record. And so, especially recently, and I don't even remember what place. It might have been I just won't say.
Well, there's also a HBO. HBO was paying a firm to hire people or to make like fake accounts and fight back against people who are criticizing the show. So, like, apparently HBO, instead of making a good show, they were more concerned with fighting back against people who are criticizing their shitty shows.
And what does that tell you? You know, of course, there's always unfounded criticism.
Yeah, kind of like when we review things and then people say bullshit in the comments.
No, but, I mean, sometimes there is unfounded criticism, but not always. And you know what it tells you? That they have to manipulate the criticism. It tells you that they know it's not good. And so they have to pay somebody to say something good about it to elevate what's mediocre into something better.
Yeah.
And that's disingenuous and that's false. So.
Well, I would say overall, I give this episode a fuck you. In fact, here's my graph. I make a graph for every season of American Horror Story, and I have every single episode as an F, because I just hate this whole season. I wish I could erase it from history. Safi hasn't filled hers out yet, but look at that, Safi. See, this is what the chart says about American Horror Story.
Well, the beginning's boring, so I'd say it's low, and then it goes up, and then probably goes down, and then finally down. Up and down.
No, you
I don't know. I don't even know what I'd give it. I try to think, should I give it a D? I'm not going to give it an F, because
why?
I do like it that she was saved, but the thing is, there's nothing about the circumstances. That's just, to me, that's like, and they ended the episode early. Marco said that
it was only 30 minutes.
And it's usually, 35 or something?
45 minutes.
45, so why would they knock, that's 15 minutes, right? They knocked off of it?
Yeah, and sometimes you'd have episodes in the series that would be an hour long. 57 minutes or so. Not anymore.
They could have filled in those holes in that 15 minutes.
That'd be too hard for them.
No, I'll just give it a D.
They're too busy hating on men.
I'll just give it a D.
Well, what do you think in terms of, I have to say again, I want to emphasize, this is the worst season of American Horror Story history. Because number one, it's an anti-men agenda show. Number two, it's not an original story. It's adapted from a book, which means it doesn't even count with the other shows because it's not in the American Horror Story continuity. And number three, it's just piss poor. So, like, I'd rather watch any other season of the show again than ever watch a single episode of this show again. Like, I would much rather watch Cult. I'll watch Cult right now. I would much rather prefer that than this season.
Well, the only thing, if you want to look at it, because I looked at it for the New York episode, the New York season, which hardly had any. We've already been over this a million times. It didn't have very much of a supernatural bent, which is really characteristic of every season. It just focused a little bit on the tarot cards. I mean, I read a mystery series that contains a tarot book, tarot card person, and there's a lot more than that. And then what was in that show. But the thing is, IVF is very important, and for them to just like throw it in the trash, like it's yesterday's food garbage, is just, it's terrible. And that could be outlawed. That's a possibility. I can't go into all that, but still, it's important to women who can't have children. They really rely on it.
Safi, what's your food review for American Horror Story Delicate?
Well, maybe I should say yesterday's food garbage. We had chicken soup, and it's in the trash.
No, yesterday we had pizza.
Oh, yeah, yesterday we had pizza. Okay, the day before yesterday, we had, was it how many nights? 4 nights?
3.
3 nights of chicken soup, which was really good. Chicken noodle soup.
I made the best.
Homemade. And, it's time to throw it out. Because, I mean, I can't eat anymore. I just can't. I can't do it. And we've done other things where I've eaten it 4 days. I couldn't do it with this. And,
well, there just wasn't enough.
And the next morning, I take the garbage. I have to take it down to the street, to this place where they cube up everything, all the garbage. In fact, for the first time since we've lived here, I saw the garbage people yesterday. And they turn all the garbage into cubes or something and put it somewhere. I don't know. But anyway, that's what my food review is. Yesterday's, or I'll just say yesterday, although we had pizza and we ate it all except for one piece. So that did go in the trash, but it's a whole season, so that's not just one piece of pizza. This was like a 3-day meal, so, and it could have lasted another day. So.
Well, I would give the season, thinking about hotels that we've gone to, there have been some pretty bad things that we've gotten at hotels.
Yeah.
Like I've talked about multiple times in 2019 when we went to Chicago, I got the shrimp and grits, and I ate one bite and didn't eat anything else and threw it out. And but there was one time where we went to a hotel, I think it was another Chicago hotel. We should really rank all of the vacations and hotels and things.
I don't know.
Because that would be important to have everything cataloged so I can refer to it for videos like this. But there was this one dessert, and it was just the most sushi foo-foo, artificial, crappy dessert I've ever had at a hotel. And it was because we went to that hotel before, and they had a really good dessert. It was like a chocolate cake piece. And when we went back there, all of a sudden they just had this, it was like a 3 chocolate cake where it had a white chocolate, dark chocolate, and milk chocolate. And it was all dried out, and it barely had any flavor. It was very artificial. And there was a little chocolate fudge on the plate, I think, and that was good. But it was a really shitty dessert, and it felt like they needlessly changed the dessert. Maybe because it was cheaper to order or something, because I don't even think they made that dessert. I think they probably just ordered it from somewhere. And it was really terrible, just like this season. You remember that, Safi?
No,
because
it must have been something we had in room service.
Yeah, it was. We were watching MasterChef on TV while we were eating it, or while I was eating it. So, you have anything else to say about the Kim Kardashian
No.
American Horror Story? And
basically, I think she played herself.
Yeah.
Especially, now the witch part, this is what all actors like to do, I think, for the most part. I shouldn't say all, but they like to play somebody really evil. It's their favorite thing to do, because they're not like that in real life.
But she is like that in real life.
She's kind of ew in real life, and the thing is, when she played the publicist, I just felt like she was just playing herself. I mean, she's had a lot of experience. They have their show. She's had a game. She sells clothing.
But the game was good, though.
Yeah, Marco liked the game.
The mobile game.
Yeah,
and they shut it down.
And they have, I think they have clothing. So, I mean, she was perfect for the part. That's for sure. The publicist part. See, like in the book the publicist wasn't even figured in the story. Not at all. It was her best friend who was an actress, and she was older. she's like a couple of decades or a decade and a half or something to her, and older than her. And so when she did that, I thought she did a really good job playing this publicist, because she's just really playing herself. All the thing with the social media and trying to get, like they wanted Emma to have attention, being an Oscar candidate and being a candidate for all these awards. I could see her doing that, like for herself. Yeah, like if this came up for any kind of award, she'd be doing that for herself, sending out likes and doing whatever they do. She'd know what to do and where to go and how to do it. But she's not. I don't care for her at all. She's been around for years, and I just don't like her. So I'm sorry, and I don't think she's that great. When you're playing yourself, that's not any big stretch. And being evil, you just step for her. She was a biatch publicist, so then she just stepped it up a notch to be evil. So what? So that's it. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And for all you people out there that gave me a problem, not on our site, but somebody else's, maybe they gave me a problem on our side, I don't know.
No.
You see what happens when you think something is a certain way and it wasn't.
Yeah, I would totally give up my baby for an Oscar.
She didn't mean it.
Yeah.
When you have IVF and you really want a baby, and even if your husband's a cheat, I told them, I said, there's a lot of single mothers out there, and they're really good mothers, and they like their babies, and they want to keep them and give them love and do everything they can for them.
Unless they turn out to be like Kim Kardashian, then I'd rather just throw them in the trash.
You just had a mother get murdered because she wanted to have custody of her children, and she was probably hammered to death. So, like I said, so you see, it just isn't all cut and dry. And this IVF thing, again, is very important to people. Really. And quit.
You know what else is important,
nothing,
Safi?
Yeah, I know.
You're behind on Office episodes, so...
Yeah, I know, and that'll be a lot more fun to watch, except Michael drives me nuts. So, anyway, goodbye, everybody.
Bye!